I believe she is the best women's footballer in the world and will be for the next 10 to 15 years without doubt. She's technically better than some Prem players. These comments from Champions League winner Reece James about his sister Lauren were initially dismissed by the public as being rooted in bias and delusion. But months later, Lauren James is leading the World Cup in goals and assists with 6 combined, and the world is finally starting to take notice of her talents.
10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power, will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
In order to understand the unique story of Lauren James, we need to go back to Kennington where it started for her dad Nigel. He grew up playing football in the cages in South London and had trials at clubs such as Luton, Southampton and Chelsea before getting into coaching around the age of 17. He quickly worked his way up the coaching ranks to the point of getting invited to run Fulham's development centre. At this time, his eldest son, Josh, signed for Fulham's under-9s team, and his 2 other children, 7-year-old Reece and 5-year-old Lauren, would also be at the sessions, kicking it about with each other whilst their brother was training. Lauren's frequent exposure to football at such a young age, as well as having the opportunity to learn from the aspiring careers of her 2 older brothers, played a significant factor into her development into being one of the best players in the country. Despite spending a lot of time in their youth at Fulham, Reece and Lauren were massive Chelsea fans and would go on to join the Chelsea Academy. In 2014, however, Lauren made the decision to leave her dream club and join Arsenal. It quickly became clear that she was way too talented to be playing with the girls of her age group, and therefore a decision was made by the Arsenal manager to move her up to train with the women's first team at the age of 14. According to Nigel, some of her teammates had issues with her involvement with the first team and the opportunities she was getting. So they asked the coach to remove her from the squad. It was already a difficult situation for a 14-15-year-old to be training with women double her age in their 20s and 30s. These types of conversations did not do anything to help the dynamic. However, the club were in a dilemma as she was clearly too good to play in the academy with the girls. So Arsenal came up with a solution of having her train with the boys of her age at the Arsenal Academy. Despite opposition from some parents, this seemed like the best solution for all parties involved, and she remained in the boys' academy setup for the rest of the season. According to her father, due to the dissatisfaction of the first team players, she initially was not allowed to return to the squad and instead was told that she could continue training with the boys but would also have to play with the academy girls of her own age, which her dad felt like was not good for her development. Despite eventually making her official debut for the first team just after turning 16, becoming the youngest player in Women's Super League history, she and her dad felt like Arsenal was not the best place for her development and made the decision to leave the club. In 2018, Lauren made the decision to join Manchester United's newly formed women's team in the Championship, English football's second tier. Still just 16, she hit the ground running, scoring 2 goals in her league debut versus Aston Villa and winning the league's Player of the Month award for September. She continued this form throughout the season, scoring 14 goals in 18 games, including 4 in a victory over Crystal Palace that would secure the team's promotion to the Super League. After a couple of seasons in the Super League with Manchester United, she would then be reunited with her childhood club, Chelsea, in 2021. where she would go on to win 2 Super Leagues, 2 FA Cups, and make her England debut whilst winning Young Player of the Year at the Women's Football Awards. And in just her first 2 starts for England at the 2023 World Cup, she scored 3 sensational goals and recorded 3 assists alongside that. As a result of her impressive performances on the world stage, more and more people are finally starting to take notice of Lauren James's talents, and a 2022 quote from her brother is starting to resurface, in which he claimed that not only is she the best women's footballer in the world, but that she is technically better than some Premier League players. As mentioned at the start of this video, Reece did receive a lot of criticism and pushback on his comments, with most people dismissing the comments as biased. First of all, bias is very normal when talking about a family member. Sometimes it gets proven to be invalid.
I mean, how do you judge LeBron being better than my son? I ain't gonna say nobody better than my son.
Are you saying Lonzo better than LeBron?
Yes.
Or sometimes it gets proven to be right on the money.
Maybe now I didn't want to say this in front of him, but he will go right to the very top. Right to the very top. Because he's got everything that's needed to become a top-class midfield player. His attitude is first class, he's got strength, he can play, he can pass it, and he can score goals.
Secondly, it's important to read this quote carefully and not take his words out of context. Football has many different elements to it: mental, physical, tactical, and technical. Reece singled out the technical aspect of the game. And thirdly, whether or not you agree or disagree with his comments, after watching this video, I am sure that you will have a greater understanding of the context behind his comments. Reece has seen his sister play alongside some of the most promising male talents in the country at a young age. It's not like she was playing with a random under-16 Sunday league team. She was literally training with boys of her age at Arsenal Academy. For context, Bukayo Saka is only 3 weeks older than Lauren James and was at Arsenal's academy at the same time. We don't know whether they ever played together, but regardless, this is the caliber of player that we're talking about when it comes to Arsenal's academy. Even as spectators, we can see that some Prem players are just not on the same technical level as others. As mentioned earlier, that is just an observation about one aspect of their game and does not discredit their overall ability as a footballer. Reece James, however, is not a spectator. He plays with and against Premier League players day in, day out for a living. He is arguably in the best possible position to know whether or not his statement is valid. One thing that is clear is that Lauren James is one of the most promising talents in football right now. Special shout out goes to the parents for successfully raising two superstar footballers who, at the ages of 23 and 21 respectively, already have Champions League, Super League and FA Cup medals between them, as well as having the honour of being the first brother-sister pairing to represent England's football teams at the senior level. If you want to know more on this topic, I highly recommend that you listen to the Beautiful Game podcast, on which Nigel was a guest and went into further depth into his perspective as a former player, a parent, a coach and a mentor, not only to Josh, Reece and Lauren, but to other players who joined his own academy. Thank you all for taking time out of your day to watch this video. Don't forget to follow my Instagram at Luke Okosieme for more sports content. Please like the video and subscribe to Oko TV for more videos like this. Drop your opinions below in the comment section and let me know what you want me to cover next. Thanks again for watching. It's been real.